That's how capitalism works. It's just get all the money you can. Don't worry about the repercussions. Missing submarine, which I think soon will become missing, presumed dead pretty soon. Although, watch, they'll discover the 5 people alive while I'm doing this live stream, and I'll look like an idiot. But anyway, everything you need to know about OceanGate's Titan submersible was discussed in the 2022 CBS News piece. Well, let me see if it has it right here so I don't repeat it all. The U.S. Coast Guard is currently leading an operation to rescue the 5 people aboard a submersible that went missing on June 18th during a trip to explore the ruins of the Titanic. The company behind the expedition, OceanGate, made its first trip to the Titanic wreck in 2021, and again 2022. The company went back this summer as part of its plans to continue to return annually to further document the Titanic and its rate of decay. The brainchild of CEO Stockton Rush, which yet again, that's proof we live in a simulation. Anytime you see names that fit with people, this is a rich guy, a CEO, and his name is Stock Rush. Come on. The Titan submersible, a watercraft that, unlike a submarine, which is autonomous, needs a mothership to launch it, is made of 5-inch thick carbon fiber capped on each end by a dome of titanium. But so here's what they're saying: this is kind of like a washing machine that's been like retrofitted to go all the way down to the Titanic. It's like, this is not something that should be doing this. So back in 2022, CBS journalist David Pogue highlighted some of the Titan's oddities. He joined an expedition to the Titanic wreck, and he said that the oddities of this submarine included elements that seemed improvised from off-the-shelf parts, and that there was a game controller that operated the craft. A fucking game controller. There's no GPS underwater, so the surface ship is supposed to guide the sub to the shipwreck by sending text messages. Fucking text messages. During the 2022 dive, CBS reported on communications. I think this was written by AI because there's a lot of grammatical errors for a human. Or maybe that's proof that it was a human, is that there's a lot of fucking grammatical errors. Communications broke down and the sub lost contact for 2.5 hours. On their average dive, they lose contact for hours. And it never found the Titanic wreck. They went to the bottom of the goddamn ocean and never even found the Titanic, which was kind of the point of this thing. Mike Rice, a TV comedy writer who worked on The Simpsons and took the trip last year. Dude, I would love to be that rich from writing on The Simpsons. That would, if you're going to get stupid rich, do it writing on The Simpsons. Took the trip last year, said communication was lost on all 3 dives he was part of last year, including one to the Titanic. They lost communication on every dive. To join the expedition, Pogue had to sign a document stating the following: this experimental vessel has not been approved or certified by any regulatory body and could result in physical injury, emotional trauma, or death. So this is not a safe thing. This is some idiot entrepreneur, CEO, who put together a washing machine, put some extra fiberglass on it, dumped it in the middle of the ocean, and said, "You're going to the Titanic. Jump on in." It cost $250,000 to get a seat on the submersible. 4,000 meters is the maximum depth the submersible reaches to view the Titanic, which is 13,000 feet is the maximum depth, and the Titanic sits at 3,800 feet. However, 2,000 feet is the maximum depth of the underwater vehicle the U.S. Navy uses to rescue people from submarines. So the U.S. Navy's craft can only go to 2,000 feet, and this craft, if it's at the bottom of the ocean near the Titanic, is at almost 4,000 feet, almost double. 20,000 feet is the depth that the Navy's vehicle, which it uses to salvage objects from the sea floor, can reach. So the Navy's thing that it uses to salvage objects can go plenty deep. However, it only has a lift capacity of 4,000 pounds, which is less than the 20,000 pound Titan submersible. So the Navy actually has no way to save these people if they're assuming they're on the bottom of the ocean. Now, if they're 10 feet below the surface, just a little lost as to which way is up, maybe they could be saved. Anyway, but the reason I wanted to cover this, even though it is a mainstream topic, is because the aspect of it that will not be discussed on your mainstream is this type of just crazy malfeasance and neglect, negligence, all that shit, not planning for the situation you're putting people in, just taking money and just throwing them into a very dangerous situation. That's how capitalism works. It's just get all the money you can. Don't worry about the repercussions. Unless you had a government that was like, we are going to actively regulate the dropping of people out in the middle of international waters, that's the only way you're going to stop something like this. Otherwise, it is just give us all your money. Who cares if people die? I mean, I get that the guy who came up with it, and by the way, I think he was on the sub, actually, the CEO. So at least the way this article thinks he was on the sub. Or the AI that wrote the article thinks he was on the sub. But that's something the AI who wrote the article could easily get wrong. Anyway, I'm kidding that they don't actually care. They probably care a little bit, but they don't care as much as the $250,000 they're collecting from each person. That's what they really care about. Now, if we had a different economic system and a different culture and money wasn't what it's all about and there wasn't such a thing as billionaires and all of those things, if that were how our system worked, you wouldn't have people create this type of thing because they would care more about the humans than they do about killing, putting people in possibly murderous situations so that they can collect $250,000 from them. They would care more about, well, I don't want to be the person that accidentally kills these people. Now, I'm not saying people can't take risks in their lives. There's a level of risk that is allowable. But if this thing is losing contact every time it goes down, then that is not a reasonable amount of risk. That is a shit heap of a corporation right there that is just dumping people to the bottom of the ocean and seeing if they happen to come back. Granted, these are million and billionaires, so okay, fine by me. Dump them in the middle of the ocean. No, that's not true. I like Simpsons writers, so you can keep them around. But if this thing were only dumping billionaires to the center of the earth, I might actually support this.